Welcome back to Mark the Path, episode 4. We are today with our special guest, Harry. So, Harry, what is it that you do?
I am a woodworker, furniture maker, carpenter, whatever you want to call it.
Okay, cool. So, Harry, explain to us what a day looks like for you. What is it that you do? Describe it to us.
So, I run my own business with my missus, and we run Variegate. We do custom furniture for people, and like running a small business when there's only two of you, each day is completely different. My usual day, like if we had a project on, it's let's say I'm talking to a client. A lot of that conversation is over email, so I'm sitting at my desk in my flat. I've got my design software. I'm talking through what I want to build for him, what he wants, the material that he uses, how much it's going to cost him, how long it's going to take me. And that's the longest part, I think, was just getting the design like perfect to where the client wants it. And that's also where I'm still trying to learn, like that's still relatively new for me, is doing the whole like designing using software. Like, I didn't pay much attention at school, so I don't know how to use a computer properly and all that sort of stuff. But that's still exciting for me because I'm still learning it. But that after we've settled on the design, I'm doing a lot of like looking for material, trying to plan each step on how I'm gonna make the thing, whether it's a desk or a set of drawers, dining table, chairs. And then I'm ordering the material, I'm getting to the workshop. On a normal like week where it's like I'm actually building the piece, me and my missus will come into the workshop. We wake up at 5:30.
God damn.
Yeah. We're morning people though, man. Like, after 2:00 we're like dead. So, but yeah, wake up at 5:30. Have a coffee. Maybe sometimes I'll go gym, but most of the time, often I don't. I just go straight to the workshop. I'm making sure all our tools are nice and sharp for the week. We'll spend half an hour just like, calibrating the table saw, sharpening the blades for the thickness of planer, sharpening chisels. Just making sure we got everything we need.
Nice.
So that kind of often takes us to about 7:00. The workshop's a good hour away from where we live. We live in Whitechapel. The workshop's in Southwest. So annoyingly, a lot of the day is just traveling, man. Like I spend like a good 2.5 hours of my day just on the tube, which sucks. I want to get a workshop closer to home.
Expensive.
Yeah, very expensive. Can't afford it right now. But yeah, when we're ready, a lot of it is just it's just sort of just going through the steps that I've already pre-organized. Like planing and flattening material, jointing it. I've got almost 11 years now experience doing woodworking. But in terms of actually like fine furniture, solid hardwood stuff, I've only got like 4 years maybe I've been doing it. And that's all sort of self-taught, just like watching YouTube and stuff.
Nice.
And yeah, I love it. It's definitely like, I don't think I would be woodworking anymore if I wasn't doing this. I think if I was still doing kitchens and cabinets and stuff, my love for that is just not there anymore.
That's actually really interesting. But yeah, man. Okay, cool. That was a very detailed day, man.
Yeah.
I think it's been my most detailed day.
I kind of forgot what you asked me.
No. It was good. Yeah, nah. Like I think I haven't had someone yet come in and detail the actual day like that. I mean,
really.
Yeah, but I think it's I think it's probably like a very clear way of seeing how your work life is.
Yeah.
I'm saying it's literally as well is the whole process is there, from the beginning, speaking to client to then creating together what is this going to be made to the point of buying your materials, now cutting your materials, joining things together, and then at the end I guess finishing, sanding, you
Yeah.
know, and then delivery, and then that's literally the process from start to finish.
I think
you know?
it's quite a weird thing, like describing, you know, woodworking or furniture making, whatever you want to call it, to someone who doesn't do it. Because like there's so much that happens and needs to happen before, like, I don't know, there's so much happening behind the scenes in a way, like or stuff that people just wouldn't expect, like actually like needed doing and what sort of stuff, like you know, the whole you know, a furniture maker that, sorry, if someone was saying, oh, build me a desk, I bet they wouldn't imagine that I've got to like go out and pick the planks that like look the straightest and like had the nicest grain, all that sort of stuff.
They're just thinking it'd be easier just buying stuff from IKEA.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
oh, you buy a piece of ash that's already connected like that, and then you can just work on that immediately. I don't know. It's
I think it's one of them things. I think it depends on the experience they have with, if they've had experience through for instance their parents, or it's how often it is that, for instance, your upbringing has been with people making furniture. If you don't have that, you're like, really, what's your reference?
yeah,
like,
or even just being in a creative family. Like, you know, you don't have to be a woodworker, but imagine if your mum or dad is like a potter or like a ceramicist or something, or like, you understand there's a process to things.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of skill that goes into even the tiniest little details, that if you fuck up, then you can fuck up the entire thing.
Oh mate, I'm looking forward. Like this, I think this is like why I find this kind of fun. This idea of like just finding people with different kind of jobs, because again, to have the conversation with a pot, how do you get into pottery? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like I think
I met one guy who like just took a course. He's a sound dude. He's really cool, but he just took a course because he like wanted to do something on Saturdays.
Yeah.
And like being really good at it. And then what he does is people who have like had like a car accident, or like, you know, have lost limbs, or like had like pieces of their like actual body that's like, you know, been damaged in a certain way, he actually makes out of pottery the mold casting for their new part.
What?
So like imagine someone's missing an arm, and they want like a fake one put in. He will make that out of pottery, out of clay and stuff.
Right.
I'm getting all the terminology wrong.
That's fine. It's not your job.
He would make it like perfectly symmetrical to his other hand or arm, and then from that they would then make a mold out of that.
Okay.
And then that mold is used
for the prosthetic.
Yeah.
Oh shit, that's interesting.
Yeah. But it can be anything from like an eyeball, or like a piece of his ear, or I don't know, a piece of your cheeks like gone or something like that. And so he had like a whole pottery like studio in King George's Hospital,
just filled with like like limbs and
stuff.
That's so interesting.
And he teaches like, you know, throwing on the weekends as like an extra little pocket money. That's how I know.
Throwing.
Yeah, so you know, throwing, like you got
No, I don't know.
Ah, bro, so you got the wheel that spins. You know, ghost.
Okay.
It's like, that's throwing.
That's called throwing.
Yeah.
When like you have the wheel with the clay and you start shaping it.
So that's when you're throwing it, because you're like, you know, you throw it down onto the thing, and then you center it, and then you can like do the whole like arms
that's
thing.
so interesting, bro.
Yeah. So you got throwing, and you got like, I'm not even a potter, and
but this is the thing, is like the things that we're exposed to. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like for me, I think at times when it comes to like people thinking about careers and stuff, like when I think of myself as a youngster, right?
Yeah.
My parents are expecting me to become, a lawyer, an engineer, an accountant, a doctor, something like that. But
my parents knew I wouldn't be able to do any of that stuff.
It's one of them things. But like, I'm fascinated by the idea of like, for instance, speaking to a musician, bro. Like, what were your parents' reactions? What were your parents doing? Why did you get into music like this? Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's such an interesting thing. Like, how explain that journey to me? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, were your parents supportive of your dream of becoming? Because again, like, you're thinking of absolute instability, and what about if you're not gonna make it, or you know, there's all these questions. And again, like, I feel like when it comes to careers, as parents, you are cautious of like what my kid is gonna do, because you're looking at it as, are they gonna be okay in the future?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
I think, but there's like, I understand it with like musicians and like artists in that sort of aspect. Like, there is a huge risk. No matter, you can't like sugarcoat that. Like, there's a huge chance that you're not going to make any money out of that, and like you're gonna have to change career and do something. some people make it, some people don't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But again, making it to some people is
it's different.
It's different, yeah. So for instance, for some person, I want to become a musician. Making it is to be at the level of Ed Sheeran. But some other people will be like, to make it is just to be able to pay my bills doing music.
Yeah.
So it's all about.
That's my idea of making it.
Yeah, for me
I
personally,
don't want to be like a huge famous woodworker. I don't think you can, but like
you can be. It's this
George
interesting
Nakashima. Shout out. I want to be George. Yeah. Anyway. But there's a difference. Like sure, like that is doable. Still difficult to do.
Yeah, for sure.
But like with what I'm doing with woodworking, I've got this whole like, it's a different skill set. You can apply it to loads of different things. So like, I'm very fortunate that I've got a lot of people around me who do support me. Like I've got my mum and dad. They've always been supportive of what I do. They're always like pushing me to like, try new things and, stick to things as well. And I've got my missus who like, I never thought I'd be able to like start a company with the girl that I'm like deeply in love with. And like, we can do that together and like look after it together. And she brings a whole different skill set that I'd never have and vice versa. But like,
you complement each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Salt and pepper.
Exactly, man. I'm definitely pepper. But like, like it's I've basically I was like thrown into this situation where I can start my own business and give it a good go. And you know what? If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I can still go and find work very easily at another company. Not everyone has to enjoy what they do, man. Like I think a lot of people don't. I think there's a difference between like, I've got a lot of respect for people who can just be like, yeah, I don't really like my job, but hey, it pays the bills and it pays for stuff that I do want to do.
Yeah. No, I think I started to look at it as well that way as well, because I used to look at it as, man, if I'm not enjoying my job, like I don't want to live my life this way, because you then you get a lot of the, okay, cool, I don't enjoy my job, I'm looking forward to retirement.
Yeah.
Bruv, you do realize from when you start your job to retirement, it's a long time. It's a big amount of time of your life. Yeah. And for you not to enjoy it.
But then it's like you're looking forward to the weekend. And then
that's the thing.
But then it's what are you doing Monday to Friday?
Exactly. So it's like, well, you're going to be miserable for the majority of your life when you think about it.
Yeah.
And then you get to retirement and guess what? You're bored.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So like for me, I look at it as, I mean, again, I do respect the people who can do that.
I respect the people that can own that. And be like, hey, yeah, I don't enjoy my job, but I enjoy the aspects of it. Like I'm not like super happy there, but I like the guy I work with, or I like my boss. I respect my boss, or I get paid well. I get dental insurance. I don't know. Like, I'm self-employed. I just had to drop like an insane amount of money on my teeth like a couple of weeks ago. It fucking destroyed me. But like, and that sucked. There's a lot of bad things about having your own business and like, being self-employed.
But as well, there's lots of benefits from it.
Yeah, 100%.
Well. Yeah.
100%.
Mate, this is
different paths in that.
It's been interesting, mate. Okay, cool. Okay, so like for me, what I like to do on the show is basically I like to kind of go back to where as far back as we can in terms of education. Do you know what I'm saying? I like to go back to primary school, we go secondary school, college.
Yeah.
If there is anything further, to kind of understand as well, like just what it is that you enjoyed. Do you know what I'm saying? So like for instance, let's go. You remember your primary school days? Like,
I don't remember much from primary school. I won't lie. Like, I remember enjoying hanging out with my friends.
Yeah,
that's pretty much it.
But like in terms of like subjects, you don't remember what the things that you kind of were inclined to. You don't remember any teachers in particular that you're like, you know what?
Not primary school. No,
fair enough.
I'll be honest. I remember being diagnosed with dyslexia when I was in primary school. So that was like, I like wasn't good at sitting down, and my voice keeps cracking.
That's alright.
I wasn't good at sitting down and paying attention and like really focusing on things. And just like was sort of realizing that my reading's not as quick as everyone else's, my spelling's not as good as everyone else's. And I think very quickly I got very dismissive about the whole thing. I was just like, oh, fuck school, I don't like this place anyway. Not primary school. Primary school, I was just enjoying life. I don't think I was really bothered about anything.
How about when it came to year 6, like when you have to do your SATs? Do you
Yeah,
remember
that was interesting. I remember that. It was. I remember not doing very well. I remember getting into my secondary school, but it was mainly because my brother was already there.
Oh,
There's like a weird thing in school where you can, if your sibling already got in, you got a higher chance of getting into that school.
yeah.
Just to keep
I
them
thought
together,
you had
I
a
think.
younger brother for some
No,
reason.
I'm the youngest.
Oh, fair
I've only
enough.
got one older.
So basically, you got diagnosed with dyslexia in primary school.
Yeah, they got it. They
That's
caught it
that's a
early.
good thing.
Yeah,
That's a really
yeah,
good
yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Really good.
Because otherwise, like with my partner, you know, it wasn't discovered until like when she was like late secondary school, and it's like
Yeah.
this whole time we've been trying to, you know, make you learn a certain way when it doesn't suit you.
Yeah,
it becomes a massive problem.
Yeah. It made school unbearable for me. Like, I think secondary school is when I first started realizing, oh, this isn't the environment that I need to be in right now. I did, you know, I hated secondary school. It was, you know, I think my first ever lesson.
Year 7. So now you've entered secondary school.
I've entered secondary school, and like it was my secondary school compared to my primary school at very different places.
Massive shock.
My primary school was probably quite, I don't know, probably quite a middle class, maybe even upper class primary school.
Okay.
It was literally like a 2-minute walk from my house. And secondary school just wasn't. Well, I don't know if that's an unfair thing to say, but like it was just older kids, you know.
Intimidating, bro.
Oh fuck yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And like just different walks of life from all over. Whereas I think my primary school just wasn't like, there wasn't a huge bit of diversity in that school. Like we had like, you know, like white kids, black kids, Asian kids. We had that sort of it, but in terms of like class diversity.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I see.
I think it was all quite middle upper class. But yeah, secondary school wasn't. So that was a learning curve, I think. Just by like, you know, trying to navigate your ways around older kids without like getting beaten up all the time. And the teachers just like, my teachers were the worst, man. They just didn't like kids. And I'm like, why the fuck are you a teacher? But yeah, my first ever lesson was ICT, Mr. Green. And I'm sitting at the back of the class. And it's only now that I'm thinking how Mr. Green is such a sick name. But like, but he was a prick. I didn't like him.
I thought it was going to be something different, bro.
No. He was a prick. So our first like lesson is, I don't know why it sounds really basic, but like you sit down and there's a PowerPoint and there's like, it's all about like, you know, when it's the right clicking on a word that's like spelt wrong and it shows you like the different spellings.
Oh, yeah.
I think we were learning that sort of aspect of like Word and PowerPoint and shit. And so I'm like, I come in, I'm sitting in the back of the class. I can't hear a word this guy's saying. He's like talking through the class, and I'm like opening up my PowerPoint. I'm seeing it. I'm like, oh, there's a thing spelled wrong. So I just started like doing it already, basically. And he was like, "Who are you?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm Harry, sir." Blah blah. And
He said, "Who are you?"
Yeah, it's the first ever. I met him like 2 minutes ago.
Bro, what? That's a weird way to start, I guess.
Yeah. But I was the only one doing stuff.
Ah, okay.
So he like saw me, like everyone else was paying attention to him, and I was like already on the computer doing shit,
okay.
which I shouldn't have been. So he like singled me out.
Didn't like it.
He was like, "I didn't say go, did I?" And I was like, "Oh, sorry, I couldn't hear you."
Raw.
Yeah. And I was only in that lesson for about 6-7 minutes, and I'd been kicked out. And I spent the entire rest of the lesson standing outside the front door of the classroom.
Like a dickhead, man. That's deep.
Fucking prick. And then Miss Kennedy, who is the deputy head teacher of the school,
walked past when you were standing outside.
And she's a horrible witch, man. Like,
and she roasted you even more.
Bro, and she took me back into the class for her to scream at me some more.
Oh,
and then sent me out again. And I'm like meeting like 29 other kids in my class for the first time. And I'm already like either a laughing stock or just like, you know, not a laughing stock, but you know, oh, that kid's a fucking idiot.
Yeah. And it's funny because you think about it, really and truly, you were doing what was meant to be getting done.
Yeah.
So it's
but
insane.
I just couldn't hear the fucker.
Yeah.
and that's all it took. But I could probably name you like 2 teachers in my entire secondary school that I actually rated and actually cared about the kids in a way.
I think that's really important. Like, because for me personally, okay, so you said you have two teachers. What subjects did they teach?
Well, one of them taught 3D design, which was
3D design. I didn't even know that was a class, man.
nah. So that it's a
That was a choice.
yeah. That's that. So 3D design was A levels already.
You mean GCSE?
Nah, A level, but and GCSE. Yeah, and GCSE.
Yeah, because A levels college.
Yeah, but I went to A level at that school. At
What,
secondary
really?
school. Yeah.
So wait, you had a sixth form there?
Yeah, 6 1.
Oh, okay, no, okay. So before that, then, it's more like I want to know from year 7 to year 11. That's kind of like the time period I want to know.
I basically learned that I was terrible at school.
For everything,
bro, everything. Like, but it wasn't that I was bad at the subjects. I wasn't great at some. I wasn't bad at others, all that sort of stuff. But like, it was more like the way that it was being taught and the way we had to, like, you know, a lot of it was you come in, you sit down, you copy off the board.
Yeah.
And like I'm like dyslexic, so I was really struggling to read it, really struggling to write it down fast enough. And like before I know it, I'm halfway through the board and the teacher's already rubbing it out and like putting the next one on. That basically summarized my secondary school experience.
Fuck.
Was just like not, and like so I basically started just not showing up. More towards like GCSEs I was still showing up and I was making an effort, but I remember GCSEs I scraped by. I remember choosing like geography. I don't know why the fuck I chose
what your
geography.
choices?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, okay. Let's just do year 7 to year 9. During that time, you're trying to tell me you didn't find any interest in any subject. There was nothing that stood out for you. There was
no. Did
your parents know about this?
Yeah.
And what would they say to you? Like, what was the?
I don't know. They were busy, man. I don't think they were. I think they kind of knew I'd figure it out. Honestly, I don't remember.
Like, what about like for instance when you had the parent teacher meetings? You did.
I remember they weren't bad.
Oh, okay.
They weren't bad. They weren't like, he's not applying. Well, actually, some of them probably did say I'm not applying myself. But like, it wasn't like, you know, Harry's like lazy and not paying attention, all that sort of stuff. But it wasn't great either. I think they were like, yeah, no, Harry's doing all right. He needs to improve on this and that. And it's like, okay, cool.
And then there was nothing afterwards, basically. It was like literally just like, okay, just do better next time kind of thing.
A little bit. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
I mean, fair enough, because I guess it's as well, it depends on the outlook of your parents as well. What they see is like, is education that...
I think my parents, like... Now, I don't know. I should probably ask them this. But like, my guess and my perspective on it is they knew the school wasn't great.
Yeah.
They knew that I would struggle with school.
Right.
But I think they also knew that I would figure it out. Like, I would, like, you know, I'm not an idiot. I'm not lazy. I had my first job at 12 years old or 13 years old. I was 13.
Was that?
Paper round.
Oh, right.
So I did a paper round at 6 o'clock in the morning every day, Monday to Sunday. For Saturday and Sunday it was 8 o'clock, so a bit later than that. But every day I'd be up at 6 doing paper round. Only took me like 20 minutes to do the paper round itself. So I'd then come home and have to wait like an hour and a half to go to school. But yeah, so I did that for like a year and a half. So I think they were like, okay, he applies himself, you know. I also started teaching myself guitar at that point. You know, I was just interested in other things that wasn't school. I just didn't do well there. I struggled with friends a little bit as well. Like, I didn't have it took me a couple of years to get like a good like sort of friendship group that I could actually like trust and like actually be mates with. I struggled with that a bit. I wasn't the coolest kid.
No, I don't know. I think at times though, it's like, it's not really about being cool. It's the idea of you, like you said, actually, trust within a friend group is really important.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? It's like something I think of my daughter right now. I feel like she struggles with that a lot. It's that for me, when I think of my friendship groups and stuff in school, I bounced around a lot.
Yeah, me too.
Like from year 7 to year 9.
Yeah.
And I would say by the end of year 9, I was like, these are my people. These are like my core people that I'm going to chill with. And then year 10, year 11, that's the same people I stayed with. And till this day, well, I'm only in contact with one of them. But again, it's from that group, And yeah, I think it's, I don't know, that trust is such an important thing.
Yeah.
But it's so difficult to find because every other kid is running like their own life. You don't know what's going on behind closed doors. You know how they're dealing with their school situation,
family matters,
home, like it's so many things. And
that's the thing. I feel like that was one thing that I was very blessed with, is I never had like an issue at home. I had a very stable family that, like, there was a lot of love in that family. I mean, me and my brother obviously clashed. We were like similar of an age. He was a bit of a prick. I was probably a bit,
bit of a prick too.
Yeah, bit of a prick too. So there was a bit of that, but like I think that's relatively normal. But yeah, like honestly, that period of time, I don't think about it at all. Like I don't.
Sorry, Harry. When you talked about like teaching yourself guitar, like what age was this?
I picked up my first guitar when I was probably in year 6.
Okay, wow. So from young.
Yeah.
Where would you? How would you?
My
teach
dad
yourself?
bought me a guitar.
How would you teach yourself? Because during this. Oh shit, man! You had YouTube during that when you were in 6.
Yeah.
God damn, bro.
Well, I had we had a family computer.
Yeah.
That was my dad's work computer.
Right.
And we were allowed to use it for homework, and that's it.
Okay.
But obviously, learning guitar is like
is learning.
It's learning.
Yeah.
So they were like, yeah, you can go on YouTube and learn guitar. And it started with just like, how do you play a G chord, and like how do you play, certain songs from certain bands. And I used to love that. And then it just sort of got to the point where I kind of learned the basics. I didn't need YouTube anymore. You could sort of just figure it out.
Amazing. Yeah.
Took years though, but yeah, no, it's wicked.
Was there anything else that you found yourself doing like that, like teaching yourself, or something else you took an interest in?
Not really.
Okay.
I think I was a kid of very simple pleasures. Like I didn't socialize a lot as a kid. I think I would I didn't do much. I'm not gonna lie. I think guitar was like quite a big thing for me. I got really into dirt bikes. Like
that's interesting.
Yeah, really random. And I bought myself a dirt bike.
At what age?
14.
God damn.
Yeah. So I'd saved up everything for my paper round. I got paid £20 a week, so pretty shit. But as a,
meant to be, but I think the really nice thing about it is that, I mean, to be fair, like when I think of like my friend group and like friend people I know, I knew no one who was doing anything like this. Everyone was getting pocket money from their parents.
No, I never. So that's the thing, we never got pocket money. My mum and dad couldn't afford that. We weren't skint, but we weren't like rolling in it. I think they were like, look, if you need money, ask us.
Yeah.
If you think you do need it, we'll probably give it to you. If you don't need it, you're not gonna get it. But our situation was funny because my grandparents on my dad's side, they were the ones that paid for school trips, paid for like
that's amazing
extra music lessons if we needed it, that sort of stuff. So like that's sort of how, like as a bigger family, they sort of all came together. So like yeah, but yeah. So I think buying my first dirt bike from money that I saved. I remember being like a kid, and I was counting my money. It's all in cash.
Yeah.
I put all on my bed. I had a fucking lot of money. And I remember my brother and his mates coming in and being like, what the fuck? Like, how'd you get all this?
Yeah.
And they were like, can I have some? I was like, no, fuck off. You don't know me. I must have had like $2,000 or something in cash.
Damn.
Yeah. And then I bought my first dirt bike, which was a really rubbish. I think it cost like 300 quid. Barely ran. My dad's into like bikes and stuff, so he like helped me fix it up. And then
what was that experience like? Was it like
beautiful?
Yeah,
really beautiful. Yeah, it's probably one of my fondest memories as a kid was doing that with my dad, because he was like, he did that when he was my age,
right?
But he grew up in the countryside. It's like different. You like sort of did that anyway.
Did you learn anything from it though? Like
yeah. I mean, I learned how to ride a motorcycle.
In terms of like at least
mechanically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's sick.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say that I know what a spark plug is and I know what a choke is.
I think for me, it's an interesting thing because someone else, like for instance, like in their journey, you did that with your dad, how that could ignite a passion for wanting to become a mechanic or something like that. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So okay, cool. That's pretty interesting. Man.
But so that's what I mean about like my parents kind of knew I'd figure it out.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. I mean, to at least to have your parents feel confident, like, and have that trust within you to be like, yeah, if school's not the way, he'll figure it out.
Yeah,
for me,
I think they knew school wasn't for me, and they were just waiting for me to get out of it. To be honest with you,
compared to like, I think my situation, it felt that it was school or nothing. It's like if you don't do well in school, your life is gonna be painful. That was the thing, you know. It was like I
never had that feeling.
Yeah, so it's like if, for instance, the day my parents found out like I dropped out of uni, it was massive disappointment. Do you know what I'm saying? It was a massive disappointment. I was like, oh man. But then it's like I've had all this pressure of going to uni. I'm like, bruv, I went to uni not even knowing what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I've spent all this money trying to please not myself, trying to please my parents, you know, and I think, I find it interesting to have that trust within your family to be like, yeah, cool, man, it's fine. That's year 7 to 9, yeah. So now let's say year 10 to 11, you have now had to make your choices.
Yeah.
What were your choices? Do you remember your choices?
Yeah. What did I choose? I chose music, geography. Wow, I can't even remember what I took. I can't even remember.
It's fine, man. It's fun. I mean,
that's mad.
We have geography and music. So
geography, I thought would be really cool, but I hated it. I thought I was going to learn about volcanoes and shit, and I was learning about towns.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, geography is such a broad subject. Like when I remember when I was doing geography, I was like really excited because I'm like, oh, cool, we're gonna do like cities and countries and continents. I'm like, I'm good at this. And then when you do it, it's like, yeah, we're talking about rocks and.
See, I was the opposite. I wanted to learn about rocks.
I was like, what is this, bro? Like, why are we talking about this?
We learned about some next town in Cornwall that I'd never been to, and why the population was falling. And I'm like, I don't fucking care. Like, I want to learn about volcano and a river and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. I like the river one. The river one was interesting.
Yeah, tributaries and shit.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, cool. So so really and truly then, during your time from year 10 to 11, what was your favorite subject? Would you say is music? Because
it was probably music because I enjoyed music, but I wasn't good at it in terms of what they were wanting me to do.
Right.
They were wanting me to read music. I couldn't read music. They were wanting me to learn about like tempos and 4/4 and 2/4 and all that sort of rubbish. It's not rubbish, but I just couldn't I couldn't grasp it. I don't know why. I feel like I could now. That's the thing.
That's interesting, yeah.
But back then I just had something just wasn't quite, in a weird way, wasn't quite developed in me to actually try and learn something that I wasn't interested in.
Yeah.
I remember skating by. I barely passed any of my exams. I failed maths GCSE and I failed English GCSE. Had to retake that. But yeah, I remember just being like, well, I'm glad that's over, and then not thinking about it again.
That's really interesting. Did your parents say anything when grades and stuff, or did they not really say anything to it?
I remember having a vague conversation with my parents because I remember wanting to get out of that school. I remember after GCSE, I was like, okay, A-level, I want to go somewhere a bit better.
Yeah.
And then realizing that, oh, hang on, I haven't got the grades for any of that. To go to a better school, there's no way. I think the best I did was a C-.
Okay.
It was pretty bad. But, and I remember sort of being like, well, actually, most of my mates are staying on at St. Cedars, which is my secondary school, staying on for sixth form. And I was a bit I was probably quite a shy kid back then. I wasn't the most outgoing, wasn't most confident. And I think I was a bit do you know what? I'm going to play it safe and just stay with my group, stay in the same environment.
Yeah.
And just try and make sixth form
a good
better experience than the rest of it. That didn't happen.
Because now you're the older kid, kind of.
Yeah. I thought, okay, do you know what? I'm old. I'm one of the oldest in the school now, in year-wise. I was the youngest in my whole year group. I was an August baby.
Oh.
I think I was the second youngest in the whole year group. And I remember, a big part of it was like, there's no one older, and like, we're cool the year above us, like they're we hang out with them and all that sort of stuff. But like, the school had become a lot more tame. It wasn't as rough as it was when I first joined.
Do you not feel maybe that's because again, now you're the big kid there, so the fears
honestly
that you had...
it was so the school in general was quite a new school.
Oh.
I think when I joined there was only 3 years above me or 4 years above me. Yeah. So they were kind of accepting anyone.
Right.
And I don't want to shit on like the upper years. Like I was a kid, obviously. We were all kids. But fuck me, man. They were rough. Like, and like my year, I would say, was the last rough year. Not as in like everyone was rough. It wasn't like that at all. It was actually probably quite a chill school. I was just like so oblivious to everything else that I was like, this school sucks.
Yeah.
But really, it was probably actually quite a good school. But
we'll bring up the reports later.
yeah. Oh, dude, no. Now it's really good. Now they're like in a sick school. Like they're winning awards and all that. But we had the police called to our school 6 times in 1 week.
For what?
I think some girl got. There's a few things I'm not gonna say because it's not probably very nice on the podcast. But this girl got a lighter and a deodorant can to the face.
Oh my god!
1st-degree burns.
Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah, and then I think just fights and all that sort of stuff.
That's crazy, man.
My mate threw a chair at a teacher. That was quite funny. Just angry kids. That's all it was. It was just angry kids and stupid kids. Kids basically.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. It's interesting. It's interesting. I was like talking to my friend yesterday. We were doing his episode, and he was explaining to me like because he went to school in Angola and he went to school in Portugal, and he said when he came to school here, like the shock in terms of like the respect for teachers in this country was like a massive shock, because like he felt the kids didn't respect teachers at all. There was no respect.
Yeah.
And
that was exactly the same in my school. But like, again, I'm not sure if it like, I haven't been to so many secondary schools, and I don't know what the standard is.
Yeah. Same.
So, but for me, my experience there was I hated it, and the teachers had no control, and most of the teachers I don't think deserved control. In a way, like they just weren't.
They didn't know how to handle class.
Nah, and they didn't know how to respect kids as well.
Right.
Come in guns blazing and just shouting at everyone. Of course,
Yeah. I think that was a little bit with our school as well. To be fair, it was like this idea of like, to be fair, if you were known as the strict teacher, it was a thing of you had now the fear of the students. So that's how most likely you would have control of your class if your students feared you.
Yeah.
But then you had other teachers who were like a lot more friendlier, and there was a lot more bounciness, but there was still respect.
Yeah, 100%.
It's like you had I would say the old school teachers where they felt it had to be militant.
Yeah.
And you have other teachers like, let me try to connect and try to make education
that's
fun.
the thing. It's funny because I just want to, like, my favorite teacher, Miss Goodyear, just like, bless her, man.
Miss Goodyear.
Yeah. She
name.
was safe. She was cool. She was young as well, so she was like actually like, she listened to the same music as us and all that sort of stuff. But like, she wanted to teach you. She was good at teaching you, and she showed you respect when she spoke to you. But also, if you're naughty or in trouble, she'd fucking tell you. Like, she'd shout at you and stuff. And but you weren't like, fuck you, you're always shouting and all that sort of stuff. It was like, oh man, Miss Goodyear's shouting. We've messed up.
Yeah, we've done something wrong. Yeah. For sure.
But like, she was my favorite teacher by far. She's the one that got me into woodworking.
Okay, so before that, let's go into now college, bro. I mean, sixth form for you.
So yeah, I chose.
How many choices did you have?
I think I had 4 choices. So
you
had to study.
4 choices.
But I took 3.
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah. What did I do? So I did music tech.
Okay.
And I did 3D design, which was Miss Goodyear. And then basically I didn't know what else I wanted to do, so I basically picked a good one, which was BTech Science.
Okay.
And that was all. I'm good at coursework. I'm not good at exams. Because coursework, I can sit down and just go through it.
I was the opposite. I
Really?
hated coursework and I loved exams.
No, I'm sick of coursework, but I'm terrible at exams. But yeah, so I did that, and that was basically just a filler. Like, I didn't care about that. I just needed to pass it.
Oh,
What I cared about was music and 3D design, because I just enjoyed those. It was music tech, so it was different to the music that I did in GCSE. It was more like, hey, we're gonna like actually record songs and like learn how to use recording software.
Oh, okay.
Learn how to like mix and all that sort of stuff.
So you enjoyed that a lot more than GCSEs?
Way more. And my brother, who was in the year above me, took the same course.
Okay, so he could explain to you how
I
it was
just
gonna
copied all his work.
Ah.
He literally just sent me his stuff and I reworded it.
No, Jesus.
Yeah. But that was when I was like, I was starting to get done with school. Like I was taking the piss a bit. I wasn't showing up. I'd only show up to certain lessons if I wanted to go. I showed no sign of like. So I was working at this point as well. So I taught.
What were you doing?
So I taught guitar.
Oh, okay.
To like primary school kids.
Nice.
And it was all I don't know how I came about, but I just like. I met this family. I think they were friends with my mum and dad, and I babysat for them or something. And
mate, you was a hustler, man. Just
bro,
constantly working.
Bro, yeah, I was. So the paper round, I finished that ages ago. But I babysat, I taught guitar, and I worked at a pub, whilst also doing A levels.
So you were 17 working in a pub?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was possible.
I was 16 working in a pub.
I didn't even know you was allowed to do that.
You're not allowed to.
Okay.
No, well, technically, you're not allowed to pour.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You can do everything else. But I poured every now and then.
Oh, fair.
But I was like washing dishes basically, or like bringing food out to people. So I was tired, you know. I was working and I was saving money, and I was like, I'm earning money. Why the fuck do I need to go to school? Sort of thing.
Yeah.
Which looking back is silly because it's not. I wasn't earning like good money, and I wasn't like, you know. But out of all of my mates,
you had dough.
I had dough, and it was all mine. I earned it, and like. No one else had ever worked a day in their life. Maybe they did, but I didn't know.
Didn't ask them questions.
Nah, yeah. So I started slacking. I remember calling in sick to school because I was offered like a whole day shift at a pub, and I was like, well, that's like
money.
Yeah, I think it would have been like 80 quid or something. So I was like, yeah, cool, I'll do that. So I called in sick, and my teacher showed up to the pub after school.
Oh, pain.
He didn't know I worked there. And he saw me, and I was like, hey.
Oh my days.
He was like, we're having a chat tomorrow. I was like, okay.
I mean, the thing is it's funny, innit? Because you can have a chat, but you have to
what you gotta do.
Yeah, exactly. What you have to understand is like, you don't understand what's a priority for me. Do you know what I'm saying? You might be mad, but really and truly, my life is not all about whatever it is that you're teaching. I think sometimes there is that kind of element of like, you've chosen to go to school, but the thing is, it's kind of...
The thing is, I didn't.
You didn't?
Nah.
Why did you go to sixth form? Did you just feel like it was the next step that you had to do?
Yeah, a little bit.
What about, did you ever have a careers counsellor come to your school?
Yeah.
What did they say to you?
I can't really remember, to be honest with you. We didn't have like a sit-down one-on-one with a person.
Oh, okay.
We had like, we went to these like career path like events where you walk, you know, it's all in the XL Centre. And
I went to a couple. But they also do have the career counsellor 1-to-1.
Yeah,
they do have like their little booths for it.
Yeah.
I remember I did it and it was like inconclusive. Like they couldn't really tell me what it was that I might like to do.
I remember thinking that I was just gonna go and learn a trade. I was thinking I'm gonna be a plumber or a sparky.
Okay.
Because you can earn good money.
Yeah.
But then I went to check out the like college. It was like the same college that we met.
Yeah.
But for like plumbing and sparking and all that sort of stuff. And like no disrespect to those guys, but it just wasn't for me. Like I walked in, I was like, yeah, I can't do this. Like, I'd be bored in 5 minutes and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, probably you're aware of what it is that you like and don't like, you know.
I needed creative stuff. You know, I knew I was a creative person, but I hadn't found what I was good at yet.
Right.
And so basically my attendance at sixth form just got so low that they actually thought I left. They thought I didn't go to the school anymore. I remember showing up to one lesson. They're like, "What are you doing here?" And I was like, "Oh, I go here. They're like, no, I've been told that you've left. And I was like, who told you that?
Oh, mad.
And then my parents had to get called in, and they had a chat with the head of sixth form, and they basically said, look, Harry needs to either like start showing up and doing work, or he's leaving. He's out tomorrow.
How do your parents react to that?
Really calmly.
Amazing.
I didn't get told off or anything.
That's amazing, though.
No. I remember them sitting me down and be like, look, if you don't want to do that, you don't have to do that. But what are you going to do? Because you're not staying at home doing nothing.
Right. Yeah, fair enough.
And that was when I was like, well, fuck, I don't know what I'm going to do. So yeah, I guess I'll try at this thing. And I end up, actually, it's funny because I was at a certain age where I was learning how I learn.
Yeah.
GCSE, I didn't know how I could learn yet. Like, as a dyslexic, I wasn't learning how everyone else was. I needed to do things repetitively, slowly, methodically. And so when I got into sixth form and I started learning that that's how I should be doing things, I actually got a bit better at the sort of stuff that I was wanting to do. So I did pretty good. Like I did so applied science. After I started actually showing up to lesson, I think I got a extinction.
Okay, yeah.
Extinction, yeah.
Distinction, yeah.
Distinction.
It's like an A, yeah.
Yeah.
It's meant to be the A.
I think it's a B.
No,
because you get distinction
merit.
plus.
You
No,
distinction.
merit C. Oh, fuck, I don't know.
Distinction, merit, and pass.
Okay, I got a merit then.
Oh, okay.
I got a merit. But I got a distinction in music tech.
Oh, okay, cool.
And then I got a B in 3D design. So then I was like, look, I enjoyed music, and I enjoyed both like music and 3D design, but I thought I wanted to do music. So I was like, okay, cool. A levels are done. Like everyone's finished. Everyone else is getting into their unis. Oh, I failed a year. I forgot to say that. I failed my first year. I had to retake it.
Okay. So you did 2 years in sixth form?
3.
3 years?
Yeah. Sixth form's 2 years already.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to do music. So I started applying to all these unis.
For music?
For music.
Yeah.
I applied for 5 and I got into 1. And it was in Canterbury. And I was like, I'm not going to Canterbury. I don't even know where that is.
Those jokes.
I remember my dad taking me, like driving me down. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going there. Like, there's like one pub.
that was the deal breaker.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So do you, like, at no point did you think, oh, okay. I mean, again, it's a weird thing. What was your parents like when? Like, did you actually want to go to uni, or was it a thing of it felt like it was the next step?
Felt like the next step. But because I like barely got into anything,
yeah,
I started thinking, I don't know if uni is for me.
Right.
I remember when my dad sat me down. He was like, I don't think you'd enjoy it. Like, you should go. He was saying, like, look, if you want to go, because you're gonna meet a lot of people. You're gonna have a lot of fun. But if you don't, like, you can finish uni and think it's all a huge waste of time. And I think he was definitely right. I wouldn't have done well. I would have partied and like, been a bit silly probably and not actually work on my studies. And I probably would have flopped or like bunked out at some point. And also obviously I was also like thinking I was the shit at playing guitar, and then I got to these places and I was like, oh no, I'm like way behind on everyone else. Has been like tutored and like had like lessons, and they're like, some of them are classically trained and shit, and I'm there like, yeah, I go on YouTube. You know what I mean? So I was like, okay, I don't know if uni's for me.
Do you feel like it had like an effect on like your kind of like your morale?
Yeah. I remember being quite bummed out.
Oh, right.
But I remember being like, all of my friends are all leaving London, and I'm like
the only one staying.
Right. And I'm the only one that didn't go to uni. And that was back when I was still like, man, like, being a sexual, I was like, man, I'm just fucking dumb. Like, I can't even like get into any unis, and all my mates are like going off and doing all sorts of crazy shit. At
times I did think that was a thing. Like, I think like in schools, it was something, if you didn't go into uni, it was a thing to be judged about.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? And it's like, now that I'm older, I'm like, it's a shame, because you think about the amount of kids that haven't gone to uni, and like, it's making them feel some sort of way, but really and truly, Uni's not for everyone.
No.
See what I'm saying?
No.
A lot of people, I believe, right now go to uni because they believe it's the next step. Come out 27 grand in debt, and they're like, I'm not going to use this degree.
Yeah,
I only did it because they wanted to see a degree on the on the wall.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that personally is like, I think it's something more I want to explore, really.
There's an aspect of like that I'm still a bit like, oh man, I feel like I did miss out a little bit. Like
on what, the social experience?
The social experience,
right? Yeah.
You know, like meeting girls and and like, you know, meeting like some friends that you're probably gonna be friends with for the rest of your life.
Potentially, maybe not.
Maybe not exactly. Maybe
not.
I got one mate who was saying that he met some guy who were like best friends at uni, and then literally last day of uni, his mate came up to him and said,
"Goodbye."
He was like, "Yeah, I'm not very good at keeping in touch, so see ya." And that was the last time they spoke.
Yeah, but it's how it is. There's the expectation in it.
But yeah, so basically I wasn't getting into any of the unis, so I went to Miss Goodyear. Shout out Miss Goodyear. And I said to her, look, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like, you know, can you help me basically, or just have a chat with me about it? And she was like, well, look, her. So in that department of 3D design, it was her and another teacher called Miss Eckford, who also, shout out Miss Eckford, she was cool. We had a rocky beginning, but we were cool at the end. And Miss Eckford came in there, and I was talking to both of them, and Miss Eckford was just like, look, if you don't know what you're doing, just go work for my husband for the summer holidays and see if you like it. And that was Dan, the manager at the time at AJB. So I remember just being like, okay, cool. So I went, had a meeting with Dan and Nick, who was the boss.
So just to clarify, AJB is a carpentry company.
Sorry, yeah. AJB is a carpentry fabrication company. They were quite small when I first joined, I think. Well, not small.
I think you was in the beginning stages. Yeah.
They've been around for a while. But
yeah.
they blew up size-wise.
Yeah.
Like, towards the end. But yeah, sorry. So, you know, I went to work for these guys, and I had an interview, and they're like, yeah, cool, you can start next week if you want. I was like, okay, cool. And it was the first time that I was like, look, I'm be honest with you, I'm dyslexic. I'm not very good at a lot. I didn't do well at school. I'm not very good at certain things, but I like working my hands. I like being creative. And Nick, who the boss, is also dyslexic.
Right.
And I think he had a very similar experience to me, and was just like, yeah, cool, you're coming. Like, I want to teach you some stuff. And I think Dan was also, I think I had it quite easy, because Dan was also like, look, this is my wife's pupil who is needing a helping hand. So he was like, yeah, I mean, just come.
Yeah, man, I think it's so important to have that, like, someone who is willing to give you that little bit of a guidance, a little bit of a, like, just of an experience, you know. To have someone who's like, you know what, just try this out and see how you feel about it.
Yeah.
Because I think at times we get stuck in this idea of like, I need to find my ideal job, and your ideal job has this, that, the other, and you're struggling. You're looking, I need to find this ideal job. You find it, you're disappointed, and you've wasted all this time trying to find this ideal job. Instead of, you know what, try a job. You don't like it, leave the job. Try another job.
Yeah, 100%. You know? I think people forget how often people change careers.
Yeah.
Especially back in the day. People change careers all the fucking time.
Yeah.
Now it's like expected that you're supposed to find a career and work your way up.
Yeah.
You don't have to do that.
That's it, man. That's it. But I think it's as well is like, are these conversations being had with, like, again, with pupils in school? Because, like, I think of my experience in school, and it didn't feel that way at all. It felt like, again, everything was always push to uni. And then when I'm in uni, I'm lost, and there's no guidance. I'm like, I'm stuck. I'm doing something I don't like here. But then you're out, and now you're like, you seem like you failed in some sort of way.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, well, how do I progress from this point?
Yeah. It's the exact same at my school. Their whole thing was how many kids they got in that year group to get to uni.
Yeah.
Like their uni pass, you know, percentage, whatever it was.
Yeah, and then you have, like,
all they cared about.
And then you have the colleges that are letting you know how many kids from that college have gone on to Oxford and Cambridge.
Yeah.
And it's like,
bro, I don't give a fuck about it.
But that's the thing. Again, it's like, I think a lot of us are taught like school is essential, school is this, school is that, but
I guarantee nothing I did at school applies to what I do now. Nothing.
I find that so important, like to get that out there, to be like, look, just because you're struggling in school doesn't mean you're gonna struggle in life.
Nah.
Do you know what I'm saying? And I think that's the important thing for me.
I mean, like, look, I'm not like, it's almost like maybe some things that I learned from school is helping me with how I am today. But in terms of like academically, I can't, like, honestly, I can't tell you a single like lesson that I was like, oh, that changed this for me when I learned that. You know what I mean? Or like, oh, when I learned like, you know, maths and all that sort of stuff. But I do a lot of maths in my day-to-day life.
Yeah.
It's all like, you know, I've sort of just had to relearn it because I can't remember a single thing that I learned from secondary
school. Now what you study is the thing that's relevant to your craft. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's like, I think
like angles and all that sort of finding angles and
exactly. Oh man, cool. So okay, well now this is like you've had the path now to your Miss Goodyear has given you now the access to this certain job role, you know, to enter into carpentry as an apprentice. So from there, like how many job roles did you really have before you actually started your own business? I mean, how long were you even there for, you know?
So when I first joined AJB, it was only supposed to be I think it's like a 6-month like work experience.
Okay.
No, it's 6 weeks work experience, just over
Just
summer holidays.
Okay.
Yeah. But I just never really left. Like I remember the Friday came about, which was supposed to be my last day, and they were like, "See you on Monday." I was like, "Oh, yeah, sure." I was there for 7 years, and in terms of, I don't know, I think apprentice or just like labourer for the first couple of years probably. Just did sanding. Took a while to get to grips with it. I think it wasn't a skill that I picked up quickly. It took me a while to learn. Probably slower than most, actually, I'd say. I remember because when I first met you, we'd been doing it the same amount of time, I think. You were way better than I was.
I think when I look at the jobs we were doing in HMB were a lot more simpler than the stuff that I've been doing before.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's what you do when you have the commercial joinery carpentry. It's like, it's bulk, man. It's just like much of it, but it's actually a lot simpler than you imagine it to be compared to this.
It's boxes. It's kind of how I viewed it. Like
that's the thing for me. I've seen when I look at cabinet making, it is literally just boxes. Literally just boxes.
No matter what you do.
Yeah.
Like, unless you're doing like doors and staircases and all that stuff, that's different. But like, if you're doing kitchens, wardrobes, you're just building boxes.
Yeah.
Like, some boxes just look better than others. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because now all the thing that makes the difference now is just the what do you call it, the materials you choose.
Yeah. I mean, no disrespect to people that do that. Like, it's
still a skill. It's
a skill. Like, I'm not saying it's just a box. As in, like, you're not just building a box. You're doing something that is very functional and looks good and can change the entire room. But that's why I fell out of love with it.
It was just too repetitive. Yeah. I understand. Completely understand.
But yeah, in terms of like job roles, I don't know. I think it took me a while to even get to the point where I could call myself a carpenter or a cabinet maker. Even after college, I feel like I was like...
Some imposter syndrome.
Well, not that. I think I was just like, I'm not there yet. Like, on paper, it might seem like I am, but skill-wise, I'm not there yet. I can't do that. It was only... Honestly, it was overnight when I was like... Something just clicked and I just understood it. And things just like somehow started.
How many years?
Like 4.
Yeah. I think like what happens, you've done it for so long, you realize that I don't have to think much about this anymore. Yeah. I'm just doing it.
It was a confidence thing as well.
Yeah.
I remember being terrified that I'm going to fuck up. I used to fuck up all the time. Like, cut shit too short, you know, scratch something by accident, all that sort of stuff. And I think when that fear of fucking up left, that's when I was like, oh, you just got to do it.
Yeah.
And like...
If you mess up, you learn ways to fix it.
Yeah, exactly. I've gotten really good at fixing my mistakes. And by making all those mistakes and just like literally overnight, I was just like suddenly I didn't make a mistake for flipping ages.
Mm.
I can't tell you how long exactly, but like, you know, something just clicked and I was like, oh, I'm actually pretty good at this.
Mm.
And I was still young at that point. I was 22. Everyone I was working with was in their 30s.
Mm.
And I remember it very quickly got to the point where like all these people who are much older than me, I was like skill level wise getting pretty good and like getting like, I don't want to sound like an arrogant asshole right now, but I was a lot better than a lot of those guys.
Mm.
And I wasn't getting paid anywhere near as much as they were. I wasn't like, you know, I was given all the responsibility but not any of the
the pay.
perks from it, yeah. I remember being like, man, I'm getting paid like fucking, I think it was £11 an hour, £11.50 an hour.
Mm.
22, I've been doing it for 4 years now. I was fully qualified. And yet these guys who are coming in, who are like, you know, 32, probably around that age, were just taking the piss, not working as hard as I was, not doing as good as work as I was. I was having to tell them what to do sometimes.
Yeah.
And I asked them, how much are you getting paid here? Some of them were on like 25 an hour.
Yeah.
I was like, that's mad.
Yeah. It's a bit demoralizing.
It was hugely demoralizing.
Because you feel like you should be, like, you know, if you're working hard, they should recognize it.
Yeah. It was an age thing as well. They totally took advantage of my age a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know, like, I've had this kind of like thing in my mind that, like, the way to grow, right, is you need to kind of look at what it is. You're either making the money you want or you're learning more. You're becoming better at what it is that you do.
I was still very much learning at that point.
Okay, so in that case, then it's fine because the money is you like, you look at it and you feel, okay, I'm getting paid less, but the reality is you're like, I'm still learning. So
yeah,
I'm
I was
in a
also
good
still at
position.
home with my mum and dad, you know, and I wasn't paying rent or anything.
Yeah, fair enough.
You know, I didn't have responsibilities like everyone else did at that place, so you know that's fair enough. I'm not bitter about it, but it was a bit like, you know, I learned a lot from that experience, and just by talking to them and talking to my manager about it, you know, you learn a lot about like valuing your work and valuing your time, and that is definitely something that I take into my business now.
Yep.
You know, sometimes, yeah, I won't lie, sometimes we take on a project and we don't get paid what we should, but we've got nothing else booked in and we need money.
Yeah.
Whether it's 500 or $1,000 less than you want, sometimes you still do it because otherwise they're just going to say no and it's not there.
Yeah.
But you know how much you want, and you know how much you're worth, and you always strive to push for that.
Definitely.
And yeah, that's definitely something that I learned from my time at AJB as a young man. Still learning, obviously. Nowhere near, like, you know, I was good at what I was doing. Wasn't anywhere near the top, obviously. There were some amazing joiners at that company, and I was still trying to learn off them. But there's also a lot of people that weren't that great, and were getting paid way more.
They just needed the people. That's what.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
So when you stopped at AJB, how long did it take for you to then start your own business? Did you work at any other companies, or what did you do?
So what I did was I started my own business straight away.
Oh, okay.
But it wasn't as lucrative as it is now.
Okay.
And I was very much still trying to figure out what exactly I actually wanted to do. I remember it was an iffy time because it was also COVID was like just hit. So I basically went off, did my own thing. And this was before my girlfriend joined the company. So it's just me. And I was still trying to figure that stuff out, whilst also doing other jobs that I was swinging doors. I was, doing a couple kitchens for people, just like coming in and not doing the whole kitchen because that'd actually be quite a good job.
Working as like an assistant. Yeah.
I had a lot of friends in the industry already who all were spread out doing other things.
That's amazing. Yeah. So you had a network basically.
I had a network. Yeah. And I just dipped my toe in each one whenever I needed it. But whilst I was doing that, I was mainly focusing on what I wanted to do, which turned out to be furniture. And I remember getting my first commission for a desk.
Yeah.
And it was good money. It was a beautiful design, solid hardwood, all that sort of stuff. I didn't tell the client this at first. I told him after, but it was my first ever solid hardwood furniture that I'd ever built, and it's by far my favorite piece I've ever built to this day.
Do you think it's maybe like it's kind of like the start of your business, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it was the start of everything. It paid for my table saw.
Nice.
It paid for my domino. For those of you who don't know, domino is just another tool.
It's a joining tool.
It's a joining tool. It's very good. It makes you lazy though. But it paid for a lot of stuff that I was struggling to pay for at the time. And the client gave me complete free range on like design, materials.
That's nice.
Yeah, he wanted to know obviously, and he chose some things, but he just let me
have fun with it.
Yeah. Yeah, he was like, look, I and it's amazing because I had nothing to show him furniture wise. Like I remember,
trusted you.
He just trusted me.
That's amazing.
I remember showing him pictures of like, oh yeah, I was one of 5 people who built this other table, but it was completely different, and it was a commercial sort of thing for WeWork. He had no like it was just trust. Like he had no reference of what I could do, and I said to him, like, okay, I'm gonna take my sweet time. I'm not gonna rush this. And he was like, yeah, I don't want you to rush it. Like, take your time. I'll pay you the money, and you just build it in your own time, and I'll get it when I get it.
Mate, that is like the best job you could have.
Yeah, that is amazing
because there's no pressure.
And I had nothing else to do. I was I had a bit of savings from my old work, and I just finished doing like a 2-week stretch at another person's thing, and I was living with my missus, so the rent was a bit easier. And I remember just sitting down here. I spent 2 months building this desk, maybe a bit less than 2 months. That's quite a long time.
That's a long time. No,
I think it was though, because I was waiting on because it was COVID. I was waiting on supply.
Oh damn! Yeah, of course, COVID time. I completely forget about COVID time. It feels like such a long time ago.
It took like 3 weeks for a sheet of plywood to show up at the get delivered. Just one sheet. It was amazing.
Now all I remember from COVID was like the price of materials was everything went up so much.
It hasn't really gone down though.
Has it not?
Not really, no.
I mean, I heard that MDF has gone down quite a bit now.
Oh really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think the
ply is still
ply. Was like I think birch ply, because obviously a lot of was coming from Russia.
Yeah,
and obviously when the war happened, they stopped.
It's coming from Ukraine.
Yeah, it was. I think
Ukraine is the biggest supplier of.
I think we had deliveries from Russia. Latvia was another big one.
Yeah.
Latvia was another big one.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's fucking price of materials was insane. All right, Harry, man. Well, mate, it's been an interesting talk, mate. So like, what I like to do towards the end of the show, I guess, and I ask these questions. I guess it's kind of a little bit for like, I guess I could say for like students, people who are looking into like, potentially, is this for me? Different. People are thinking of a career change, thinking, is this for me? So yeah, man, I'm just gonna fire a few questions at you. So yeah, man, what makes you good at your job?
Oh, good question. Damn. Honestly, it's all experience for me. Like, I was never good at this for a long time. It took me a long time of like determination and sticking to it. But also, I think the thing that makes me good now is the fact that I love it. If I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't put anywhere near as much effort. And that just says, it's the exact same thing that happened with school. I didn't enjoy it, so I didn't put any effort into this.
Yeah.
But woodworking was the first thing that I actually realized, I'm actually good at this. And I enjoy it. I enjoy the technicality of it. Like, building a desk is not an easy thing to do to the level that we do it to.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna sound like a prick again here, but
stop saying that, man.
But like, I look at a lot of other woodworkers that I know. I'm like, you can't do what I do in terms of solid hardwood furniture building. Now, a lot of other things are way better than me, like cabinet. If me and you went up against each other to build like a cabinet, bro, you'd destroy me.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is with everything, though, isn't it? Like, we kind of pick again, you have the industry, which you'd say is carpentry, and then
Yeah.
there's little segments
There's little
within
and I
carpentry.
chose mine.
Yeah,
But that's where my love is.
yeah.
Like the
definitely.
amount of time, it's pretty unhealthy, but the amount of time I spend on Pinterest or Instagram just looking at
ideas,
designs,
Inspirations.
jigs,
Yeah.
how to fit a kit out your table saw, all that sort of stuff. Like I do an unhealthy amount, and that
It's not
is just
unhealthy.
because it's not. But I need to chill a little bit. I think. But like I think it is just the fact that I love it, and I've found what makes me happy.
It's good, man.
And I'm just blessed that I can earn money from it. Really,
Man, you're living the dream.
I literally am, man. I literally am.
Okay, cool, man. So, if I wanted to do your job, what advice would you give me in order to be as successful as I can?
I would do what I didn't do in a funny way, and it's actually what you were advising me to do from the very beginning.
I remember.
Is just move around.
Yeah, man.
Find different companies. Find what works for you. I stuck to the same company until I got let go.
Yeah.
But that was a confidence thing for me. Like I didn't have the confidence to go to another company. I didn't want to. I was happy where I was. But yeah, man, like go to college, go to building craft and learn from Travis. That's what I'd say. He's a great teacher, that guy. And like get your qualifications and just move around. I wouldn't spend more than a year in each place. Because then, you got to earn people's trust when you join these companies. They're not just going to throw you on a difficult project straight away. You're going to be sanding for 2 months before you get given any opportunity. But you want to get those opportunities at those companies so that you can learn how they do certain things, their techniques.
100%. I definitely agree with that.
And then leave on good terms with all these guys and find somewhere else. And just figure out what way works for you. And then, yeah. And look, you could either start your own business, like what I did, or you can work your way up a company, become head joiner. You're laughing.
Okay. Well, I think you've kind of answered this a little bit. Would you recommend me to seek further education?
Well, it depends on you.
Well, I mean, you said it there, didn't you? To go to maybe potentially do what do you call it, like a level 1, level 2.
I would definitely recommend going to level 2, but if you want to go higher than that, I think it's up to you. Like we went straight to level 2, right? There was only for level 1. Yeah. But there was also a class at the same college that we went to, which was like fine joinery or wherever it was, and that is basically what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
But I was like, well, you're there full time. It's like a 2-year course, I think, or 1 year, not sure.
Oh, that's the furniture making class.
Yeah.
That was really
But
nice.
like everyone it was funny because you look at our class and it's all like, it's a very different group of people.
Yeah, for sure.
They were quite I don't know, I don't really know the right word, but maybe a bit posher than we were. I think that's fair to say.
I think what it was definitely a
but-
more expensive course.
Oh, it's way more expensive.
Yeah, I think our course total was like £2,000 at a time, and I think the furniture making class for the 2 years was 10 grand.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was the price was different, but at the same time the attention was a lot different. The classroom setting was a lot different.
Yeah.
It was just a completely different thing.
It looked like a really cool course.
It did, yeah.
And like I know, I met a lot of the people who did that course, and they were really lovely guys. But like, it was something that I really wanted to do, but I was like, I can't do that. So it was a full-time thing for me. I liked coming in and out.
Yeah,
and I couldn't afford it as well. So
okay, cool, man. Okay, so what would I have to be interested in for you to recommend this job for me?
I would say if you're creative. If you're not creative, I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah.
My missus, very, very creative person and very smart. Academically smart, creatively smart. Like, she basically saw me going off and trying to do my own thing. Was like, I want to give you a hand. And she first was like, I'll teach you how to use, like, how to do your taxes, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're creative, I'd say I'd recommend this. So my missus is a very creative person, a very smart person. She joined. We basically decided to do this together.
Yeah.
And her aspect I found really interesting because, she knew she wanted to work with her hands. She knew she wanted to make things. She knew she wanted to build things and work with her hands, but she just didn't really mind what it was. She studied prop making at uni, and made these amazing cool stuff. But like obviously prop making, it's quite hard to earn money from there. And she was like, look, I'll give woodworking a go. And she's only been doing it for 3 years, and I suppose she's almost better than I am. And like,
do you think it's just she's had what do you call it? I think it's, man, it must be so nice to have that freedom though, because obviously it's nice the idea that you have she's working with you, but as part of your company.
Yeah.
So there's the
she
freedom.
didn't have the it's a lot easier.
Yeah, because you have to think about in our situation, like when we were working,
it's a lot more intense.
It's not only is more intense, but you don't have the freedom to kind of do whatever it is that you want to do.
No, not at all.
It's a thing of, this is the job, do this job.
Yeah.
It's not a thing of,
if you're a mil out, you've messed up, and that's on you, and you've got to start the whole thing again.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're getting shouted at.
Yeah.
I can't shout at her. But it's a different woodworking.
Yeah.
She's learning carving and like making smaller things.
Yeah, but it's I guess
she helps with the furniture, and she's still learning that whole aspect of it.
She's your apprentice.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm her apprentice when it comes to taxes and like the legal stuff. The business side of it. I'm terrible at business. I'm good at talking to people and doing it, but I recommend if you're creative. We teach lessons. So every Saturday we teach. We have like 3 or 4 people coming in, and we teach them how to make chopping boards or like a brush or spatula and all that sort of stuff. Like just small project that they can do in a few hours. And a lot of them are like creative people who sit behind a desk all day and pay to go to a workshop on a Saturday morning and spend 3 hours getting taught how to make a chopping board, how to cut a piece of wood on a bandsaw.
Mate, I think that's so amazing, because then again, like I've been saying to you throughout, it's like this idea of potentially you're causing a spark with someone and say, you know what, this is actually what I want to be doing.
Yeah.
And I think that is so amazing.
We had a guy recently who just loved the class so much. He was like, can I come back and can you guys like teach me how to make like a small coffee table? And I was like, yeah, sure. Like, email us obviously, but like, just seeing this guy like working with a bit of wood for the first time, being like, I could do this.
Yeah.
This really interests me. It's quite cool. We always say that we live vicariously through the students.
Mate, I think it's like, it must be such a rewarding feeling.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Oh, mate, amazing. Yeah. Oh, man. Okay, well, are you happy with your path? Do you think you'll change your path at some point?
I'm happy with my path. I think it was not an easy path for how I got here. I think I could have probably made it a bit better for myself. But no, like I wouldn't have known that. And I don't know how.
How would you know?
And I don't know how I would have made it easier for myself. But what was your question? It was path.
Your path, yeah. Are you happy with your path, and do you think you'll change it? I
think probably I will. I didn't for the future.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, definitely. I can't do this forever. Like I don't want to be, I don't want to be 50, 60 years old still, working in a workshop and doing quite physical work, a lot of it. There's aspects of like, the thing that I find most fun is kind of more leaning towards design now and seeing a piece come together.
Yeah.
It's not so much the actual building of it anymore. Like, I still really enjoy it, but I can see in the future me being more like,
on the computer doing drawings.
And overseeing the workshop instead of, being there doing most of the work all the time. Because you got to understand, like, Johanna, my partner, she's not at the point where you could give her a drawing and she could just do it.
Yeah.
Especially because you got one chance to make these things. Because if you make one mistake, that's your whole profit margin gone. So And a lot of it is me basically doing most things and bringing her in to help, but also to teach her as we go. So she's already like come leaps and bounds since, but you know, I'm definitely carrying the actual like making of the thing quite a lot. And I think in the future I don't want to do that. I would like to go to, you know, maybe having some people working for us at that point.
Yeah.
And I can come to them and say, look, this is the design. We're going to try and roll this out in a few weeks' time. I want it out of this wood, that wood, that wood. That's, you know, I can sit down with them and talk them through how I want them to build it.
Right.
And I can be there for, so if they actually come to the point where, oh, we're not sure about this, and we can actually talk about it. Or I could say, no, stop fucking about. I want it done like this.
Yeah.
I can. And I think that's a fun. I think that's where I'm going to find most of my fun in the future.
It's interesting now. Like I was listening to this thing the other day. Is like we do something for around, I think it's 8 years, 7 to 10 years, and then we stop and we kind of ask ourselves the question if this is what we want to continue doing. You know, and I do think that's I guess is a little bit interesting because again, you now more or less kind of have an idea of where you want things to be. Like
I've got it all planned out.
It's one of them. For me, I guess I'm curious. Do you not believe that anything could ever pop out to you and say, "Oh, it's completely different to what I thought it was going to be"? You know?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, like we even talk about, you know, different paths that we want to. We're kind of very open as to where it's going to lead us.
Yeah.
Like obviously, we both really want Variegate to like be successful.
Yeah, of course.
And to earn us money. But whether that takes us down one road or the other, we're not sure. We talk about like having a workshop with a showroom in front, so we build furniture, put it in front, and we have a little coffee shop in there as well. And so people can come in, look at our furniture, we can make them a coffee and just talk to them. You know, Johanna's an incredible like baker, chef, you know, good in the kitchen. I'm okay, nowhere near as good as she is, but she can like make some banging food, and we could sell that to people as well. You know, we're so open as to where this wants to go.
Man, I think that's just the way you have to be. You know, it's, don't think like, oh, this is the only way it's gonna be, because I guess that's a perfect way of being disappointed. You know, it's nice to have your mind open to like, man, the possibilities are endless.
Yeah. Because guarantee you want it to go that way, it's never gonna go there. Something will be different to your overall vision. Yeah, whether it's a small aspect or a big aspect, it's not gonna be the perfect thing that you've wanted it to be. So don't make it perfect. Don't make it like it has to be that, otherwise I failed. Nah, mate, you're, you know, as long as I'm still happy doing what I'm doing, I call that success.
Oh, mate, beautifully said, mate.
Thank
beautifully
you.
said. So Harry, I was gonna say, so you were talking about like your company doing classes and obviously as well you source projects and all this. May let the people know about your company name, you know.
So our company, if you want to look us up, www.variegate.uk.
Variegate spelled how?
Dude, I'm dyslexic. Why are you asking me this? Let me find it, because I know how to write it, but it's you got to edit this shit out, man. VARIEGATE.UK. That's variegate.uk.
.uk?
Yeah.
Not even .co.uk?
Variegate was taken. The actual name is .uk.
.uk, that's interesting.
Because variegate is like it's a plant terminology. It's when your plant has like a growth like color defect or something like that.
Fair enough.
So it's a variety, variegate. So we took that because a lot of the woods we use are like, you know, in the industry standard, not seen as the nicest of woods, and we take it and be like, well, this is a waste of ice, and we're gonna turn something beautiful out of it.
Oh man, that's sick.
Yeah. So check us out. You know, we do we do fine furniture, and sustainability is at our core. We our main supplier basically collects storm-fallen trees or trees that need to get cut down because of like, you know, they got a disease or they're growing into your neighbor's garden. Instead of getting turned to mush, he comes and saves them, and we get local trees. Most of us timber actually comes from London.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. We built a desk for someone, and and it was completely coincidence. But the tree that we sourced for his desk was cut down like 2 streets down from where he lived.
Mate, a local tree.
Yeah, and it would have been cut down years before he even contacted us.
Right.
So it was just pure luck. Like we found it and we're like, hang on, that's his address, like down there. And so we told him, and he was like, yeah, take that.
Oh, mate.
So yeah, like you know, we teach lessons. If you want to come check out the workshop, we'll teach you how to make a chopping board or a brush. You know, it's like 4 hours. It's just me and Johanna will teach you. Maximum 4 people else there.
Mate, come get inspired, man.
Yeah, come learn something.
Amazing. Harry, mate, it's been a pleasure
Mate,
speaking
pleasure's
to
all
you.
mine.
Thank you for coming, Harry, mate.
Thank you for having me, bro. It's good to see you again.